Hello.
I'm not happy.
This is a running theme.
Once again.
Welcome back, once again, to Wheel Takes, a podcast about the Wheel of Time, a series of fantasy novels by Robert Jordan and finished by Brandon Sanderson. I'm Gus. I've read them all.
I'm Allie, and I now know about the spanking thing.
Which, I mean, there's a lot of spanking things in the Wheel of Time.
Real
quick. This podcast only contains spoilers for what Allie's already read, which is today's Knife of Dreams chapter 7.
But I'm just saying, I think people deserve to know, spoiled or no,
yes,
that if I had a nickel for every time a man in this book spanked a woman, and not just spanked a woman, but spanked a woman for an absurdly long time.
Many pages this time.
Like, it wasn't a single spank. No. It was multiple, till his hand was stinging.
Yes.
I would have 2 nickels.
Yes.
Which isn't a lot, but it is so weird that it happened twice.
You know, it's one of the Robert Jordan hallmarks, I feel like, could be a bit less spanking.
A bit.
Here's my well, yes, more than a bit. Here's my question.
Wait, really quickly.
Yes.
Also, I saw a negative review of our podcast somewhere where someone said, "I'm so tired of their here's my thing. I don't give a fuck. Here's my thing." So, you made me laugh. I was like, I do say that a lot. I don't care. Oh.
The dog just cuddled up on Allie.
Oh, hello. I love you so much. You could conquer continents with a face like yours.
What were you saying?
Thank God you use it for good.
What were you, Allie, darling? Allie, what were you saying?
I don't even know.
You talk about Robert Jordan and spanking.
He's so cute.
And you said, here's my thing. And then you went on a tangent.
Here's my thing. I don't think we should spank people. Listen, okay, here's the thing. Both times that the women were spanked, did they hit men? The men that spanked them? Yes. Do I think anyone should hit anyone ever? No. That's fucking dumb. Use your words like a goddamn adult. Like, if you hit someone, you immediately are the loser of whatever thing was going on. Not only that, if you are the person who resorts to petty insults, like you're a bitch, you're immediately the idiot loser. Okay? Immediately. Like, you're not interested in resolving a conflict. You are just perpetuating the conflict, increasing the conflict, escalating the conflict. It's dumb. Don't do it. It's dumb.
Well, it's funny because we talk sometimes about, in acting in particular, if you revert to an act of violence or you know, like an outburst or a tantrum, that usually makes your power go down in this scene.
Yes. I only make a swear to be funny. I've sworn at you one time, and I felt like such an idiot the minute it came out of my mouth. It wasn't even a bad swear. It was actually really funny.
Are you talking about the time you called me an ass and we both started laughing?
Yeah, well, because and it was one time, and I don't even remember why we were fighting.
I'm sure it was something silly.
But I went, well, I guess someone's decided to be an ass today.
And both of us lost it.
Well, no, first, you were really offended, remember? You went, Allie, can you please apologize for calling me an ass? Really hurt my feelings. And then the minute that you did that, I started laughing. I was like, I'm sorry. That was such an asshole thing for you to say. And then I immediately looked at you and went, I lose, obviously.
It was so funny.
I lose because all I had was to call you an ass, and I'm sorry.
It was so funny.
I felt so bad. It was also really funny. But, like, yeah, swearing at people or spanking them or hitting them, all of that just makes you a fucking idiot. So, yeah, I just, because you don't have enough of, like, a good argument or, like, intellectual anything to hold your own as an adult, so you resort to throwing tantrums like a fucking 2-year-old.
Now, admittedly,
expecting people to put up with your shit instead of going to goddamn therapy. I'm talking about Jolene.
Oh, yes. I was going to say, this is not a defense. They are both very much
I'm talking about Jolene first. I'm dragging Jolene through the mud.
Yes, I just want to clarify.
In what world are you a fucking world leader, you dumb fucking piece of bread? No wonder Dolly Parton wrote the best diss track of all time about you. You absolute cow. All right, so that But second, we don't go out to their level. And also, it just feels like another continuation of powerful women getting humiliated by men.
It is,
and it
kind
just,
of, yes.
like,
There's a lot of that.
And I'm sorry, but like, I would have been weirdly more comfortable if he had punched her in the face than this. Because, Liz, don't hit women. Don't hit anyone, like I've said. Hitting is for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And only with a bat. Hitting is for, pretty much that. So I don't like it. Hot take. I don't like violence. I know most people love it.
It's the commonly accepted.
You're here for wheel takes.
We are going to have to find a way to segue into patron thank yous before too long.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Hold on. I got to get this out. All right. But it just boggles the mind that people are like, oh, you know how we're going to teach kids emotional regulation? We're going to hit them. Just fucking hit them. Because we as adults can't regulate around the emotions of a child. So we're going to hit them to teach them to regulate. It's dumb. And for anyone who's like, well, I turned out fine and I was spanked and I didn't, clearly. So I don't want to hear shit. Your data point is not helpful in the conversation. Because if you think about it for one iota, it's stupid. Anyway.
Listen.
It's stupid. So anyway, so I'm just tired of the women being humiliated. It makes me grumpy. Though the dog is howling. Look at him.
They can't. It is not a visual medium.
Like a little demon. He sleeps with his eyes open.
It's very creepy.
But like, it's not his eyes even. It's like whatever the red membrane is in there.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like a little open.
It's his eyelid.
It's not his eyes.
It's his eyelid.
Is that
you can see his eyelids, yes.
No. These eyelids are the things around it. It's like the thing inside.
Yeah, it's the inner eyelid.
It's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
There's an inner eyelid?
Well, what do you think is underneath your eyelid? What's
we
on the
have
other
an
side?
inner eyelid?
No, it's not like a separate eyelid. It's the underside of your eyelid. It's the inner part of your eyelid.
That's what I'm saying?
I think so.
No, I think dogs have like a third thing.
I don't know. But look, before we get too far off afield,
speaking of eyelids,
we have
patrons.
Some patrons. As a reminder, we've fallen very, very badly behind in our patron thank yous and our patron letters, and we're doing 5 thank yous a week until we get caught up.
Every time we do the patron letters, and we love doing them, but every time we do them, I have to do them in an ADHD hyperfixation state, and that's why they go out so erratically.
And we know they are like the one thing that actually is not free and that y'all have paid for. So we really are very grateful for your patience, and we do apologize again for the wait.
There are 2 reasons why they take so long. One, I have to be ADHD hyperfixating on them or they won't happen. Because every time we do them in big batches, we go, okay, next time we're going to commit to doing them in smaller batches so that they go out better. And it never happens. And I don't know why it never happens. Maybe because I do 45 things at once. And I have to be hyperfixating on that one thing for me to get it done. But also because it makes my hand hurt after a while. And I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So I can't. I'm frail like a Victorian orphan.
But we're really grateful for you, and they're on their way.
And they are on their way, I promise you.
But listen, for now,
and we'll make it super worth it.
5 folks to thank. First things first.
What?
No, we won't. First things first. Thanks for the pint, light-blinded fool.
Oh my gosh. Light-blinded fool, you shouldn't have. All right. Just like a unbelievable. Have I done unbelievable?
I do not know.
I don't think I have. Unbelievable grocery store. You're filled with options and opportunity.
The dog, by the way, is snoring directly into the microphone.
They love it.
I'm just letting them know. That's what that is.
He's cuddling with me. I'll post a picture of it. Okay. But you are... I'm talking about Light Blinded Fool, please. Professionalism. I'm just kidding. You are bright and you squash any issue that comes your way because you're strawberry awesome.
Good deal.
Don't let anyone eggplant some ideas in your head that you're not chipper. I'm going to get out of this before Gus divorces me. Anyway, thank you so much for being a patron. And thank you so much for being a part of this community.
Yes, thanks for the
Wait. What is the thing I say a million times a day?
Thank you so much.
And thank you for being a part of this community.
And for that, we thank you, and thanks for being part of this community. And for that, we thank you.
Wow. Holy moly. Why did that go away?
For the high five, Cliff.
Cliff. Just like a flexible snore. Now let's think about it because the dog's snoring
Currently is snoring, yes.
Just like a flexible snore. You're sonorous. You're pleasing to hear. You make sure that your voice is heard. You are robust. You are distinct. Everyone notices you. They hear you coming. And they're like, thank God. They're here. We love them. And you know that anything can happen if you put your mind to it.
Okay.
I was like, I have to figure out a way. Anyway. Yeah. Thank you. And for that, we thank you. And thank you so much for being a part of this community.
Thanks for the pint, Alex H.
Alex H. Just like a welcoming potholder. You're warm. You have this lovely way about you. You weave yourself very easily into people's lives. You are the holder of many hopes and dreams, all of which you will accomplish. And for that, we thank you. And thank you for being a part of this community.
Thanks for the cup of coffee, Omar A.
Omar A. Just like a alleviating ship. You bob over the waves of life easily and efficiently, standing firm for your principles and your morals, and you are the master and commander of your fate. And for that we thank you. And thank you for being a part of this community.
And thanks for the high five, Chris.
Chris, just like a buoyant ham.
All right.
That's where we're going. You're meaty. Not physically, but in terms of just like your soul. You have a meaty soul. Someone who really just knows what's important and what life is really about. And someone who are like, wow, I really want to just know everything about what they think about every possible issue, because we'll know that it's nuanced and thoughtful and well said. Also, have I done ham before?
No.
No, I definitely have.
I don't think you... Well,
I definitely have, because I thought about honey baked.
Point. You're far enough in.
And then I was like, wait, I've definitely said honey baked on this podcast.
You have, but you're far enough now.
Well, I'm in it.
You're committed.
I'm in it. Much like Kevin Bacon. You're a great dancer. And you won't let stupid rules like whether or not we can dance get you down. You're a rebel without a cause, and you will make sure that we, you buoyant ham, will overcome silly, stupid rules that don't matter. And for that, we thank you. And thank you for being a part of this community.
I really hope Chris is not halal, or does not keep halal, because that would be a little funny. But, hey.
I feel like it would be even funnier.
Thank you all very much.
I don't eat ham either.
That's true.
We cannot eat ham together. We can just appreciate what it offers. I don't know.
Here's the thing. Thank you all. We're very grateful for you all. We appreciate you. And we're going to keep it moving. We're going to dive on into the chapters. All right. Allie.
Yes.
We're going to pick it up with chapter 6. What is it called?
Wait. Hold on. Let me pull up my notes.
The cover has nearly fallen all the way off the book. I might just... it's okay. The cover is off the...
The chapter, Gus.
The cover is now off the book.
If you must know.
The cover has fully fallen off, yes.
Is the stave and razor.
It is called A Stave and a Razor.
You know how I know that?
How do you check your notes?
I wrote it down.
Look at you.
Because I knew it. I knew you were going to ask. And after 4 years, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be the one to tell you what the chapter title is,
The book
Gus.
looks naked. The cover is literally... There is no cover.
This is Gus's nightmare. He's never seen this before.
This is
on the other
apocalyptic.
hand, feel like this is a regular occurrence for me.
God.
But not since marrying Gus, because I want to stay married.
No cover.
You know
All right.
what I mean?
Allie, do you have notes for chapters? Well, actually, first, where did we leave off?
Grumpiness. Perrin with the Shan Chan and Fail in the
Shido.
shy. Do you like assaulting women? Yes, we do.
The shy don't.
The shy don't.
The shy just don't camp. Allie, do you have notes for chapter 6?
I do.
Take it away.
All right. The harsh-faced woman, this is a quote, put so many spices into everything. She prepared... Oh, excuse me. Let me start that over. The harsh-faced woman put so many spices into everything she prepared that it was all inedible. White boy encounters cumin. He intended to keep on until he fell over dead in the middle of a show. This is every American senator.
That... Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Hire me for your next bar mitzvah. Crows again. Lots of dark bird imagery with him. Still. As if I don't know what's happening with all of that. I'm picking up what they're putting down. I'm like, Robert, please. Enough with the foreshadowing. I have already picked up on what you're putting down. If I have not yet picked up on what you're putting down, I will never pick it up. You'll just have to tell me. All right? Oh, God, they could see each other and he saw them doing the deed.
Yes.
I wrote a bunch of like exclamation points and question marks and then random word letters. And autocorrect decided it was "ny woman's."
Yeah. Yeah, Matt accidentally almost looked in on Rand and Min doing the fucking.
That's
quite
such
unfortunate.
a nightmare.
Quite unfortunate. Quite unfortunate.
That's such a nightmare.
You don't want that.
I don't
in your head. You don't want
to
that.
know. I don't want to know what my friends look like naked.
No.
I don't. I just because Catholic.
Yes.
I'm not Catholic. This is the thing. I went to Catholic school. Very confusing. I know. Weird. Absolutely. But I went to Catholic school and it left an indelible mark on my psyche to the point where I'm like, I know that there are women. I was an actress. I have changed in front of people, but I am like still that person that changes in the stall and everyone's like, what is wrong with you? Everything. We've established this. I have hours of podcasting documenting it. I send it straight to my therapist. What's up, Ben? Anyway, Matt is so Baldur's Gate coded. Because there's a dice rolling in his head all the time.
That's true, actually. It's really funny.
We
when you
rolled
put it that
initiative.
way. You have been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate.
Okay, here's the problem.
Which is great.
Gus was like, I think you should play a game that isn't The Sims. And I was like, incorrect.
Not that there's anything wrong with The Sims.
Well, no. But I've been hyperfixating on it since middle school, and maybe it's time to shake it up a little bit. It's never time to shake it up. I'm a loyal person.
Well, you thought that.
Well, okay. Well, because the problem is that with video games, I get too stressed. Like
Right.
with real video games, I get too stressed and like I'm worried that something's going to jump out at me. And I panic when that happens. And then Gus is like, you have to hit it. And I'm like, I can't. I'm panicking. And he's like, stop panicking. And I'm like, that's not how panicking works.
And I say, if it goes wrong, all that happens is you go back to the last save.
But see, my brain doesn't believe that. My brain doesn't believe that. My brain believes that I'm dying.
Mm-hmm.
So with Baldur's Gate, it's a little bit more calm because I don't have to hit it.
This podcast is brought to... No, it's not.
It's brought to you by
Larian Studios.
So Gus was like, I think I've found the game, like a game that's going to open you up a little bit to other games. Like a gateway drug for games. And I play other cozy games. Like I've played other
Played
cozy things.
unpacking.
But like
you play
fighting
Animal
games.
Crossing a little bit.
A little bit. Have you seen my island?
That's true.
Sir, do not imply that I do not have a bitchin' island.
You have a great island.
Okay, thank you.
You just don't play it as often as many. That's all I'm saying. It's not a criticism.
Well, yeah, because I'm busy building my careers, not my Sims careers.
True.
In The Sims, and they have a soap opera going.
I see.
Yeah, I can make them soap opera.
But back to Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. I discovered this game because of Gus. I played it one time and I was like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'll pick it up, at some point again. And then I was like randomly kind of like, you know what? The hell. Several months later.
Couple weeks. It was a few weeks. You started it right before Christmas.
Yeah. I was like, okay, hell, I'll play it again, And I have thought of nothing else for 48 hours. Because I called Gus 24 hours ago and I said, I am concerned.
It was 2 days ago. Yeah, it was 2 days ago.
48 hours ago.
Actually, it might have been 3 days ago. It was a few
so
days
I have
ago.
thought of nothing else for, was 48 plus 24?
72.
70. See, I can't even do math. I think about Baldur's Gate too much. I am so passionate.
Did you see what your playtime is at right now?
I don't want to know.
I saw it. Do you want to know?
Yeah.
18 hours.
This is not good. This is not good. I have many jobs. I have multiple employments. My goodness. But yeah, so I got though, to be fair to me, because I feel this way about my screen time, I regularly just leave things on and wander about.
True. And also, to be fair,
so that's not to be trusted.
Many of these hours were between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.
That was once.
That's not a problem. It's funny. It's
That
funny
was
to
one
me
time.
because I will stay up late playing video games, and I don't know that you ever really.
Well, the problem
had
is I
done
keep
that
getting a
before.
new goal.
Yeah.
I keep having a new goal, and I fucking love a goal.
By the way, I'm not saying 18 hours is a lot of time to have played Baldur's Gate.
I
That's
have
just beginning.
Tasks. I have many. The refugees, they needed me, Gus. They needed me.
Yeah.
What I'm supposed to tell them? I'm sorry. I'm going to bed. I'm sorry. Defenseless refugees. No, I had a task. I had a job. I saved lives.
Yes.
I'm a hero.
So
I gave up sleep to be a hero. Okay. And that, I think, is worth giving up sleep for.
So, Matt is Baldur's Gate coded because he has dice in his head. That's a very good comparison.
He's Baldur's Gate coded.
Although it's like when in Baldur's Gate, you click on the die and it rolls for about 3 seconds and then it comes up. Matt, it's like you're playing Baldur's Gate and then the die comes up and you click it and then it just keeps going.
And you can't
And
tell.
it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going.
And you can't tell the difference between success and a failure.
Yeah, and the dice are just like rolling throughout both of these chapters, by the way. Now, I there's a little part of me where I go, are we perhaps hitting the dice thing a little hard, Robert?
How dare you?
Just a little bit.
Oh my God.
Every now and again in these chapters when Matt doesn't know what they're stopping for and we don't know what they're stopping for, there's just little pieces of me that go, have we weakened the sauce?
Robert Jordan is perfect in every way, Gus. And you're a dick for even saying otherwise. No, I don't care. You know what? I think I would like to have seen like a more direct result of the dice rolling one way or another, because also, I don't know about you, because he's like, they keep rolling whenever I'm around Tuan. Like, if you got tinnitus every time you were near me, eventually you'd have a Pavlovian response where you just kind of start avoiding me.
Could do.
Would you not?
Maybe a little bit, but no, actually, for you, of course not.
Aww. Okay, then another person, say, who you don't love deeply and dearly. If you didn't know me, right, at all, like we had no 10 years of like loving
am I
bliss.
falling for you and am I fated to love you?
Well, that's valid. Those are things to factor into the equation.
And that's also something I feel like we could talk about a little bit.
You think that I'm worth tinnitus?
You're worth Van Goghing.
I'm not altogether unconvinced that you didn't get tinnitus because I'm just such a loud motherfucker.
No, you're perfect.
I'm just constantly gabbing in his ear, and eventually his ear was like, enough, I give up.
I love it. Do you have more notes?
I do. I demand that everyone stop calling Matt Toy this instant.
Oh, yes, that.
This instant, I say. I thought we were done with it when we left Thailand.
No.
I thought we were finished.
No,
and then Tuan was like, you know what was cute about
just
that?
Gonna keep rolling that shit
Everything.
forward.
And I just disagree. Like, unless your person is literally Woody from Toy Story, calling your man Toy is fucking weird. And I'm not somebody who yucks other people's yums very often. Well, actually, on this podcast sometimes, but
you'll yuck a lot of fictional yums.
Yeah, I'll yuck a lot of fictional. I truly am a very live and let live person. Like, I really don't care as long as other people are happy and not a dick to me. Like, I am like a fucking golden retriever, truly. Like, if people are nice to me, I'm so psyched. Like, the psychedest when people are nice to me, because weirdly, sometimes that doesn't happen. And I'm always so genuinely hurt by it. Because you know what? But you know what? That's probably because they're having a bad day. I hope it's not because of me. What was I saying?
I don't know.
Me neither. Wait, I've got it. Hold on.
Toy. You're talking about Toy.
Unless they're literally Woody and Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot call them toys. That's gross.
Well, the issue with the toy thing.
I don't have an issue with honey, babe, baby. I know some people hate that kind of thing.
Well,
I'm
then
let
Matt
them
starts,
call each other what they want. But it doesn't seem like Matt likes it.
Well, why doesn't Matt like it, by the way?
Because Tylen
called him that. Yeah.
And Tylen called him that in a predatory way.
Yes.
So I'm just like, can she call him something else? It's starting to get weird. It was already weird.
You did pick up on he is now trying to go tit for tat with that.
Yes, they called her Precious.
Yes.
And listen, if someone called me Toy, I'd be like, ew. If someone called me Precious,
Well, you are.
I'm like,
Yes.
Unless it's like some older man I don't know. Well, actually, depends on their vibe.
Well, generally speaking.
Do they seem grandpa, or do they seem like the next thing they're going to do is whip it out? Do you know what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah. Depends on their vibe. But if like someone's nice, if an older woman called me Precious, forget it.
That's the main thing, yeah.
I'll be hers forever. I'll be her best friend. Okay. But yeah, it gives both heebies and jeebies. So he's his cousin, eh?
Yeah.
Ew, is he?
Yeah.
Likely fucking story, mate.
What?
I don't think so. This man is Jane fucking Farstrider.
Well, we're going to have to read and find out
he
on that
strides far, baby. Oh, sounds like Jane Farstrider is a bit of a fuckhead, actually. According to Noel.
Maybe there's
like,
a little
he's
more.
Not shit.
A little more to the legend.
Oh, he left his wife to die of a fever?
A little more truth to. Here's
All
the
right,
thing.
now listen. I know. Okay, here's what probably happened. Okay, here's what probably. Well, you first. Sorry, did I interrupt you, darling?
I don't know. I think we kind of interrupted each other. I was going to say, if I may.
Please.
It's very possible that he was out on an adventure, and while he was out on an adventure, his wife died of a fever.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is that's probably what happened. But I don't know. I feel so... I don't even like to go to the post office without you, but maybe I'm just codependent. Is it codependent, or do I just really love my spouse? Like, I really can't tell anymore, and I don't care to find out.
Sure.
But you know, like I mean, I can do things by myself, but I miss you like the whole time.
I understand.
I can't imagine. I spent the whole weekend without you this past weekend, and I was just like, ugh.
It was not.
It's just
fun.
not as good. But yeah, I don't know.
No, I get it.
Anyway, let's
We'll dive in right after these ads.
Katie's grinding his teeth. He's just like mommy baby.
Chapter 6, A Stave and a Razor. That's the chapter logo. What is it?
It's dice.
It's dice,
yes.
and they are rolling. Matt,
did you know that Matt has dice in his
I
head?
did. Matt had never really expected Luca to leave Jurador after only one day. The stone-walled salt town was wealthy, and Luca did like to see coins stick to his hands, so he was not exactly disappointed when the man told him that Val and Luca's grand traveling show and magnificent display of marvels and wonders, that's a big sign. That's a lot of signage to carry around.
The marketing department is lacking.
Would remain there at least 2 more days. Not exactly disappointed, yet he had hoped that his luck might hold good.
When your sign needs a TLDR, that's too much.
or his being Taviran. But then being Taviran had never brought anything other than bad that he could see. The lines at the entrance are already as long as they were at their best yesterday. I expect, and then I paused for about 3 seconds because I was scanning the paragraph to get to where the dialogue picked up. It's on the next page. I expect twice as many visitors today, maybe 3 times as many tomorrow, and tomorrow as well. People can't say everything in one visit. And here they can afford to come twice. So, oh, God damn it. All right. That's funny. So what's going on with the circus, Allie?
Oh, they can afford to come twice, can they?
What's going on with the circus?
Like crowds.
Yeah.
They're doing well.
Yeah.
They come to town. The people come. They don't have televisions or Baldur's Gate, so they're showing up. Wait, also, I didn't know this. Baldur's Gate has some dirty stuff in it.
Like spicy
When
spice.
I tell you that I was flirting with the lizard gal, and all of a sudden I see her boobies.
Well, you
I
did.
I was shocked.
You did. She did invite you to.
Well, I thought it'd be a cut scene.
It is a cut scene. It's just there's boobs in it.
And they call romance novels porn.
You left nudity on.
I didn't. I did not know. I was clutching my little pearls.
It's funny because that was the first step of the romance with that character. And then I'm playing my file. And I got to the first step of the romance with a different character. And we sat on a cliffside and drank wine and then gently kissed once as the sun came up. Very different.
I was shocked. I got full frontal.
It was funny because I was cooking. All of a sudden you went, oh! And I came out and I went, oh, hello.
I saw everything.
Yes.
It was like the first shot was like her private square.
Yes.
I was shocked.
Yes, well, yes.
I was like, oh my God.
I was talking to my boss. My former boss was playing Baldur's Gate.
I squawked.
And I was talking to him, and I said, oh, how are you liking it so far? He goes, very good game. Really like it a lot. It reminds me of a lot of old D&D stuff. And I said, apparently actually, for the first couple of months, there was a variable miscoded that made your party members flirt with you too quickly. And he went, yeah, I will admit I was a little bit surprised at how I was getting snake tits 2 hours into the game. He said, I didn't necessarily want that.
I did not want it.
No, I know.
I'm just kidding. I was just like, whoa. I didn't expect it.
Listen, I have no problem with it. It's a great game.
I didn't expect it.
It's a great game.
But I will.
Very good game.
But I will be playing.
So Matt leaves the circus to go shopping. Every time I skip over, and I just read these chapters, so I know what happened, but every time I skip over a couple of pages in the book, I worry that I'm skipping over somebody's favorite page, because this happens so frequently, is that we'll skip what I consider to be an inane point of, nice but not necessary dialogue. And then before I'm posting the episode, I see people talking like, oh my God, I cannot wait to hear what they think about, Littell and the dogs. And I'm like, the what? What? And then I feel terrible. But anyway, if I'm skipping somebody's favorite section here, I apologize.
Not Littell and the dogs. I'll tell you what I think about Littell and the dogs. It was rough.
So, as you pointed out, Matt gets a vision of Rand and Min.
I come with tinnitus and punts.
And he gets to Jurador, and he goes shopping, and I really enjoyed this shopping section.
Here's what happened.
Yeah.
Robert Jordan went to the Kentucky Derby one time.
No, that was book 7.
I got that was book 7.
Yeah, we had a straight up Kentucky Derby in book 7.
All right, Robert Jordan went to a horse auction one time and was like, oh, this shit's going in the book. Mm-hmm. I feel it when a writer does. When a writer has a life thing or a research deep dive.
Yes, he was famous for doing this,
Oh.
Like, you remember when Perrin blacksmithed for 5.5 pages and it's a beautiful scene, but it's full of terminology?
The best part of writing is when it gives you an excuse to not write.
Yeah. But yeah, first...
All of my writers know what I'm talking about. That's why naming characters takes 45 years. You're like, oh, I'm going to spend... Writers spend more time on baby name websites than expectant mothers. I swear to fucking God. We think more about our characters than you think about your baby.
First, he buys a bow staff, a stave of Two Rivers Black U.
That's not because we love our babies more. It's because we're trying to avoid something.
Right.
Which is writing.
He buys a stave of Black U, and then he goes to a stable to buy a horse. And as you point out, there are many, many pages of very detailed information about horses. What do we have here?
Horses are such amazing animals.
They're very cool. Very, very cool.
And I was really amazed by his, like, I'm going to, feel up this horse, and just...
A stallion
the
would
way
not...
I said that was wrong.
A stallion would not serve his purposes. Not every animal he looked at had a shallow girth or long cannons, yet none matched what he had in mind.
Are you attracted to the horse?
I don't know what the terms are. Like, I'm sure girth has something to do with the saddle.
Oh, no, I do know
You
this.
do?
I went to horse camp once.
You did? Mm-hmm. Ah, more lore.
It is it's like their width, basically.
Girth
like
is width, yeah.
Of their, like, rib cage belly area.
What are long cannons?
That I don't know.
I assume it's something to do with the legs.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's like trying to find a good horse, and what does he settle on?
He settles on the prize one, like the best one.
What type of horse is this?
I forget. It's like a shanchan.
It is a black and white mare, fresh out of her stall on a rope halter, while a groom put down fresh straw. About 15 hands tall, she was long in front, with a deep girth that promised endurance, and her legs were perfectly proportioned, with short cannons and a good angle to her fetlocks. And me, the reader, is nodding along going, ah, yes,
of course.
Horse. Her shoulders were well sloped, and her croup dead level with her withers. She had lines as good as Pips's, or even better. More than that, she was...
Why is he buying... for Tuon?
Yes. More than that, she was a breed he had heard tell of, but never thought to see. A razor from ERRATA. No other breed would have that distinctive coloring.
That is objectively the coolest horse name.
Now, did you clock the coloration on this horse?
Black and white.
On her coat, black met white in straight lines that would have been sliced by a razor, hence the name. I see you thinking... Go ahead.
Robert Jordan was like, get it? Interracial couple.
Oh, that's funny. That's not where I was going.
Okay. That's where my mind immediately went. I was like...
Well, you know where everybody's mind goes immediately when they read striped black and white horse in this book?
Zebra?
Zebra.
Oh my God.
Guess what, Ellie? It's not...
I thought Robert Jordan was just being like cute about the fact that there was an interracial couple.
No, I don't think so.
And then we had a black and white horse.
I don't
black
think
meeting
so.
White. Whatever.
But here's the thing.
Ebony.
Wait, Allie, wait.
Allie.
I'm trying to make... Go ahead. Sorry.
That's all I have. Living in perfect harmony.
Here's the thing. It's not a zebra.
It's not a zebra?
No.
What is it?
It is called a painted horse.
Oh, that's a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now here's the... I fully expected you to come into this going, oh, Matt's buying a zebra. Because when I read this, I was like, oh, that's so funny. Matt bought a zebra. And then I went online and Robert Jordan was like, it's not a zebra, guys.
I thought he was doing like a one interracial couple thing. And then two, I thought he was doing like a the Aes Sedai tier and the
balance in black and white. That's really clever. I hadn't thought of that.
That's why I figured he was doing like a thematic thing. Or he just likes black and white horses. That's also allowed.
Well, it's funny because I found on a forum where he's like, it's not a zebra. I saw a picture of a horse that looked exactly like this, and I was so sure it looked exactly like this that I didn't bother to pull up the picture. And I Googled painted horse, and they look nothing like this.
Yeah, well, this is what a black and white painted horse would look like.
Yeah, it looks more like a cow.
Yeah, they kind of look like a cow.
Yeah.
But they're a horse.
I have no issue with the fact that Robert Jordan has decided that this horse looks like a zebra but isn't. But it is really funny to me that 9 times out of 10, when people read this chapter, they go, it's a zebra. And then people have to go, actually, it's not.
What kind of horse, if you were in fantasy?
I fully expected us to spend half the podcast talking about the zebra. You don't give a shit about this. That's wild.
About the zebra?
This was a thing where I was like, this is one of those goofy things that everybody remembers and likes to talk about.
It's a zebra now.
It's even though it's not.
I don't care what Robert Jordan says. He gave us a zebra. And have we talked on this podcast about why zebras look that way? Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we have. We talked a couple weeks ago about that.
Everyone's like, enough about your animal facts. Anyway. Wait, if you were in a fantasy, have we talked about this?
No.
What kind of horse?
I don't know anything about horses. When
Okay,
Robert
but
Jordan,
come on.
I had to look up piebald.
What's piebald?
Two-colored.
I want to see what this looks like.
It's like that. Matt describes this as a piebald.
Hold on. Oh, okay, so it's like a painted horse. Okay,
Yeah.
so, but you've read a billion fantasy books. You must have at some point.
I know there's stallions
thought
and
about-
geldings and roans and piebalds and dappled horses and mares.
Well,
and
okay,
so you can
these
have a
are all
roan
different
gelding
things.
or you can have a piebald stallion.
Right. There's like types
Or you can
of
have
horses.
a war horse.
It's like how we have a tabby,
Yeah. No,
but it's
yeah.
also an American short hair,
But I don't really know like anything else apart from
and he's brown.
geldings have their balls
And then
chopped
we have
off.
another tabby,
Yeah.
and she's an American short hair, and she's brown.
Yeah.
And then we have a dog, who's many things.
Yeah, he's a mix.
But mostly pit bull and Staffordshire Terrier. But you've never thought to yourself like I'd have like a jet black horse,
No.
or I'd have.
I don't
you
think about
have
horses.
never thought to yourself if I were
Never
in fantasy,
once
what
have I
kind of
thought
horse
about
would I
what
ride?
kind of horse
That's
I would have.
shocking to me.
I would have the horse that was convenient.
That is what?
Listen,
You would have the horse that is.
we are talking
convenient?
about me.
That is the most
in relation-
practical. You are in a fantasy.
Allie.
Literally, you are telling me this is the most devastating conversation
It's
I've ever
me
had. You are in-
and large
you are in
animals. I don't
a
think about large animals.
fantasy, but this is a fantasy
I
animal.
understand that. I don't know. I've never given
You are
any
in
thought to
a
what kind of horse I would have.
Fantasy, and in your fantasy, you think about what's convenient. It's a fantasy.
I don't care what kind of
could
horse
ride a
I have.
hippopotamus if I wanted.
Are we talking
to.
about any kind of mount or
A
just
zebra, according to Robert
wait.
Jordan.
Are you talking about what mount would you have? Or,
Yes.
I thought you were saying what kind of horse would you have?
That is the same thing.
No, it's not, because now you're
What
talking
are
about a
you
hippopotamus.
Talking about? What are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about
That
a
is
completely
the
different-
same
No, it's
thing.
not the same
What
thing.
do you mean that's not the same
A
thing?
horse
That's what other
Locks
kind?
us into
Oh
a
my God.
species. If you're telling me you can ride a griffin, you can ride, I don't know.
Okay, well, if you had
echidna,
oh my God.
that's a different thing.
Well, now I want to know that, but no,
I also haven't thought about that.
you haven't.
No.
Are you serious?
I don't think about riding stuff.
You.
Yeah. I knew you were going to do that. I didn't mean to do that. I don't think about what I would ride because, like, I don't care. It's a means to an end. It gets me to a place. I also don't really care about cars. This is just like
shocking
car bro
news.
fantasy.
A horse and a car are completely different things.
They are a
They're an
vehicle that get
animal
you from point A to point
companion.
B.
They're an animal companion, sir. They make the road less lonely.
There are people who care so much about their cars and would say the same thing.
A car is not living.
I understand that.
And listen, I think about cars too. This is shocking to me. You don't get lost in your own. You've never wandered. You've never hiked and thought, wow, this is like a fantasy setting. And then you start to think of yourself
Yes,
as like a fantasy
but I
hero,
don't think of
and then you
myself
think,
on a
wow, what kind of
horse.
horse would I ride?
I
Because
have ridden a
mine,
horse
I could
a
tell you
few
the answer
times.
right now.
And every time I ride a horse, what's going through my head is, hope I don't die.
Knowing nothing about horses at all other
What is
than
it? What is
girth,
it, Allie? What is it?
I would ride a Palomino.
Well, I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, I know nothing about their temperament or anything like that. Obviously, like, it's like people being like, I would want a, husky and I live in an apartment. Like, no, you don't, you dumbass.
I want a border collie, and I don't
But being
have any
completely
space.
being completely impractical, and it's a fantasy, and I can do what I want.
I don't know. I guess
would get a
Shadowfax
Palomino.
is
They're
the only
so
thing I ever think of.
pretty.
What's a Palomino look like?
Palomino.
Oh, it's that kind of horse. It's
We'd
a
be
brownish horse.
matching.
It's a pretty horse.
A brownish.
It's a brownish
basically-
horse.
It's basically Petey as a horse.
Yeah, and he's a brownish dog.
He is an orange dog.
He's a brown. Orange is a shade of brown.
He is an orange dog. I always feel like such a dickle because on his vet forms, like, what color is he? And I know I should put brown and white because I know
You put orange?
I put orange and white because he's an orange dog. Look at him. He's orange.
It's more brown than orange.
No, I'm going to fight you
Orange
right now.
is a
I'm about
orange is
to
actually
fight
light
you.
brown.
We are fighting. Right. He is a burnt umber.
I'll take it.
I don't even know what color that is.
I'll take it.
But yeah, he's basically Petey as a horse.
So on the subject of horses.
I did not adopt Petey, by the way, just so you know. I did not adopt Petey because of his color. Petey could have been any color, and I would have been so happy.
It doesn't matter. Who cares?
But God, is he the most gorgeous color I've ever seen. No, he's not a burnt umber. That's too dark.
All right.
But he is an orange.
Ochre?
Hold on.
The Steven Erickson color
Especially
of the year?
Especially in the sunshine. Ochre? He's a bright orange in the sunshine.
I don't actually know what ochre is.
He's a bright orange.
Is it ochre?
Well, hold on. Let me look up the colors. Everyone's like, who cares? I do.
So Matt buys a horse, and it's not a zebra.
He is a honey-colored dog.
It's not a zebra. He buys a horse, and he haggles the guy down. And I like this because it's like a Matt expertise scene, and also Robert Jordan did some research that he wanted to put in there.
But in the sunlight, he gets a little more carrot or apricot. Now continue.
I like it because it's like Matt loves, this is an Abel Coffin thing, right? This is from his hometown with horses, and he knows a lot about horses. And I just like, he gets a moment to be like, Old Town Matt. Mm-hmm. I like it. Anyway, so he buys a stick and he buys a horse, and then he goes back to the thing. What is the thing? He goes back to the circus. Forgot the word for a second there.
I can't believe I'm married to a man that never thought about what horse he would ride in a fantasy. This is actually shaking me. That you were like, I grab whatever's convenient in your own fantasy, in your own mind, where anything is possible. And you didn't even think. All right,
fine. Okay,
you didn't even think about what mount you would have.
Big brown horse.
All brown?
Beer colored.
Just all brown.
I don't know. Big horse.
Okay. If it's all brown, that's good.
Big brown horse.
Like a Clydesdale or like something a little more sleek?
Something that you could sit on.
This is devastating.
I don't think about horses. I don't care that much. A horse is there to get you from place to place.
I truly cannot believe this.
It's not a Western.
I truly can't. Okay, if you were a cowboy, have you not had this thought in your head?
I have never in my life wanted to be a cowboy.
Because if I were a cowboy, my answer would be different.
What would your answer be if you were a cowboy?
I would either have an all-black horse.
Okay.
I think an all-black horse, or like a sleeker, kind of horse, like
a what?
What's Seabiscuit?
I don't know.
Like an all-black.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Or I'd have like a Seabiscuit. I'd have like a brown with black mane and tail.
All right. Very cool.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yes, very cool. I'm very cool.
I do not begrudge people being excited about horse stuff or wanting to learn about horses.
I begrudge you for not being excited about it.
Horses are beautiful animals. I think they're wonderful things.
It's part of your character.
I just don't really trust stuff that's bigger than me. It makes me a little uncomfortable.
This is shocking.
So
you would just take whatever horse is available.
Allie, any thoughts on this chapter so far, darling?
I'm shaken by this.
Any thoughts on this chapter so far?
Many. Mostly that my husband.
Right.
I'm just kidding. So Matt buys his girl a horse.
Yeah.
Which, cute, but also at the same time, it's like it gives the same vibe as like people who buy their relatives puppies for Christmas. It's like, look, honey, I bought you a responsibility.
Well, I mean, she's not going to take care of it. She's going to have someone else take care of it.
Well, yeah. But maybe he's trying to teach her like what a pet is. Because right now she doesn't know.
Yeah, she thinks it's a human being.
Yeah. So maybe he's trying to teach her what like a real pet looks like. Though now I've started to become really insecure since reading about Damani, and I've started whispering to Petey sometimes, like, "Are you a captive?"
No, he's a dog. That's a different thing. He's a dog.
I just think too much about things sometimes.
So Matt gets back to the wagons. He just busts in. And Oliver is getting a story from Noel. He goes, only the women are ever seen outside their villages. And then he kind of cuts off. And Tuan goes,
no, he also says there's like no men over 20 or something like that.
Man is toy. You knock, then wait for permission to enter. Unless you are property or a servant, then you do not knock. You also have grease on your coat. I expect you to keep yourself clean. And everyone is like, this is awkward. I expect you to
not keep slaves. But we're all disappointed.
Matt comes back with, I'll try to remember that, precious. And she's like, you beg your goddamn fucking pardon? The fuck you just call me? And Selucia is like, you want me to cut his fucking nipples off? And she goes,
then next story time, Matt's sitting there talking to Oliver like, and that's how I lost my nipples.
What did you call me? She said, as close to crisply as her accent allowed. Precious. You have a pet name for me. So I thought I should have one for you, precious. He thought Salushi's eyes were going to pop right out of her head. I see. Very well. It'll be interesting to see who wins this game, toy. And Matt is like, oh, what the fuck? What are we doing? What? Fuck. I'm just trying to jab you a little bit. You jab me a little bit.
She thinks you're doing some kind of weird...
Just trying to fucking rib you a little bit.
Battle
like,
for
come
dominance.
on. God damn. What the fuck? This is so dumb. And then Noel picks it up and goes, the thing of it is, in those Ions villages, you can see women of any age.
This is the part.
But no men much above 20 at that. Not a one. Oh, and by the way,
maybe they're like elephants.
I skipped this line, but it twigged on me when I read it. Once you got a woman feeding you, she had a hard time finding it in herself to stop you from putting your feet under her table again. Here's the thing about this. As a non-gendered statement, very true. But we had to throw a little sprinkle, just a little casual misogyny on there.
Well, yeah.
Do you want me to do the thing? Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay, so maybe the women in this village are like elephants. Where like once the men... Because this is male elephants. I'm talking about male elephants. But male elephants reach a real dickish phase in their like adolescence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they become just a problem.
Yeah.
They're just assholes.
They're just like violent and reckless.
I had this chance to see one in real life, and he knocked a tree over just 'cause.
Yeah.
They're just assholes. And so eventually, and I got to see this happen in real life. This was the coolest, scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. So the matriarch kicks the young male out of the herd at some point, like once they start to become a dick. And the men, the male elephants, just wander around looking for food and something to screw. Mm-hmm. So, like their dream.
Elephant Rumspringa.
Elephant Rumspringa. And they never come back.
But like destructive.
They're all on their own.
Yeah.
Like they just go, sometimes they'll like buddy up, but they're like on their own, hanging out. And the women all stay like in the pod that they were born in. Right?
Okay.
They're all together all the time for their whole lives and like protecting their offspring. So the herds of elephants that you see, those are all women and like males all girls, all female, and males too young to have kicked out yet.
Sure.
So anyway, maybe that's the deal with this group of women. Maybe that's why you're not seeing anyone over 20.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
That's what I was thinking.
And Matt goes, you any relation to Jane Charon, Noel? And the old man's face went still as stone. And
How
Matt had
could
torn
you
off a piece of
possibly
bread
know?
and eaten that as well before
When
Noel answered.
All I've done is tell stories that only Joel Tureen would know.
A cousin, he said at last, grudgingly. He was my cousin. You're related to Jane Farstrider? Who is this man with two names? Only great man is spoken of so, and you speak as if everyone should know him. He was a fool. He went gallivanting about the world and left a good and loving wife to die of a fever without him there to hold her hand while she died. He let himself be made into a tool by... Abruptly, Noel's face went blank. Staring through Matt, he rubbed at his forehead as though attempting to recall something.
Why couldn't wife have gone with him?
Because it's a matriarchy.
What is? Oh.
I'm making a callback to your bit from last week.
You're funny. Has anyone ever told you?
Thank you.
Even though you don't know what horse you would ride,
I don't know anything about horses.
Still like you.
What do you think of this? Noel is about to say Jane Farstrider went gallivanting, da-da-da-da. He let himself be made into a tool by, and then he just kind of like shorts out.
Grendel. It's Grendel.
Well.
Grendel, the Grendel herself.
What else do we know about Jane Farstrider from before that?
He's from Shinar.
We get a whole bunch about the Jane Farstrider in that story in Eye of the World.
That was 4 years ago,
yes.
Gus.
We talked about this during book 10 or 9.
He wandered around solving crime.
Think about the Indeed resume.
Yeah, he's got something to do with the Shamael.
Yes.
Shamael whispered in his ear, probably.
Yeah, so Ishmael basically grabbed him and sent him to tell them about the Eye of the World, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it is weird that Noel...
And then he disappeared.
Yeah. it's kind of weird, I feel like.
And he just reappeared out of nowhere.
That Noel gets halfway through a sentence about that and then blanks out like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, I thought he just didn't want to talk about it.
He starts rubbing his forehead like he's trying to remember something.
Well, yeah, he's compelled by Grendel. Of course. The queen of compelling herself.
Jane Farstrider was a great man. He fought Trollocs and Myrddraal, and he had more adventures than anyone else in the whole world, even Matt. He captured Cowan Gamalin after Gamalin betrayed Malkir to the Shadow.
Noel came to himself with a start.
He did that, boy. Not much is to his credit. But what adventure is worth leaving your wife to die alone?
None. He sounded sad enough to die on the spot himself.
Aww.
If Noel
Thanks
had put
for never leaving me to die alone.
Oliver had no answer to that, and his face fell. If Noel had put the boy off his favorite book, Matt was going to have words with the old man. Reading was important. He read himself, sometimes. So Tuon, like, leans over the table and, like, grabs his arm and, like, looks meaningfully into his eyes. What's up with this?
She's like, don't you fucking dare leave me to die of a fever.
No.
Oh.
Noel. She basically does this.
She is, for the first time in her life, showing empathy.
Why is she showing empathy to Noel for something that Noel's cousin did?
Because it's so obvious that it's him.
You have a good heart, Master Charon.
Do I, my lady? Sometimes I think...
And then Joylin kicks the door and is like, what up? Sean Channer here. I'm fucking Telthera. And then he dips. And that's the end of chapter 6.
What does Thera need to know that?
Because she was a Dakoval and she'll freak out and kind of have like a panic attack about it. Understandably.
You know, the Sean Chan are great guys, though.
Chapter 7, Allie. A cold medallion. This is the logo. What is it?
It's, the leash and collar. And
it should be a harp for how we're going to approach this chapter. Do you have notes?
Yes. Do I ever? All right. Here are my notes. Matt saying he'd let a woman in the band. Feminist king. And then I would need you to not truncate a bit of this silence. I revoke the feminist king. And now I'm grumpy again.
Yes, that's... All right, chapter 7. Okay. Chapter 7, A Cold Medallion. Matt's like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Understandably, he's concerned about the soldiers, and he's like, come on, y'all, let's tell Egianin what's up. And Noel goes,
she won't answer to that name. You know she won't.
Matt's like, I don't give a fuck about the fucking Laelwyn ship. That's stupid. I don't care. Fuck it. I don't care. Just go get her. Whatever. Shite it. I don't fucking care. Fuck. And Tuon goes, no warnings for us to remain inside, Toy? No one left to guard us? And Matt is like, you did promise, so I'm going to hold you to that. I also skipped some stuff last chapter, by the way. When Matt comes into the tent, there's like, and it is important, I think, to talk about this. There's like a solid half page where he just kind of looks at Tuon.
Yeah, and he's like, man, I got to figure out who taught Oliver to stare at Seleucia's chest.
Well, we're talking about that. We can talk about that too if you want, or we don't have to.
About Oliver?
Do you want to talk about that at all, or do you want to just harp through it?
Being America's next problematic problem.
Oliver being a horny 10-year-old. Yes.
Like, okay, here's the thing. Child who is a little precocious when it comes to ladies is a trope, right?
Yes.
There's one in Elemental, but usually it's like, here are flowers. I think you're pretty. Not, I'm going to stare openly at a woman's heaving breasts. Like, it's just a lot. It's like a lot, and it feels like a problem, and it feels like somebody needs to talk to him about it.
Matt does say that. not understanding that he is the one who is,
Well, he like weaponized incompetence made human Perrin doesn't seem to realize that they're responsible for these young boys and teaching them the ways of the world. Like, it is you, the men in their lives, the adult men in their lives, who need to sit them down when they are a problem and tell them that they're being a problem.
Well, here's the thing. I honestly think Matt is doing a better job with Ulver than Perrin has ever done with Aram.
I mean, no fucking question about that.
Because Matt sees Aram leering and looking down shirts, and he goes, I really gotta figure out who's teaching him that shit. Sorry, yeah. Matt sees Aram looking down shirts and leering at women, and he goes...
Don't do that.
He goes, I really have to figure out who is teaching him that and get them to stop. Not understanding who is he learning this behavior from?
Matt.
Yeah,
obviously.
Matt, yeah.
I was in a business meeting one time where I swear to God, a man had a conversation with my chest the entire meeting.
Horrible.
Yeah, I almost said something to my boss about it, and I was like, no, because I don't want to be a problem. You know what I mean? But it was
dropped
weird.
a train on him.
It was weird.
Yes, that's
like
terrible.
he did not make eye contact with me.
That's super fucking weird.
Which, like, when people don't make eye contact with me normally, when it's not when they're not having a conversation with boobs, I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe they are, neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I was like, no, this was very clearly like, I have never in my life felt so like, wow. I can't imagine like a 10-year-old staring at my boobs like that.
Yeah.
That'd be so weird. I'd be like, where are your parents? And then he'd tell me a sad story about how they were in the ground.
The only thing I was saying about Matt was, to Matt's credit, he recognizes that this is bad behavior.
Yeah. And so I appreciate, but I'm like, okay, kettle meet pot.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Matt, a hypocrite?
You also should fix your behavior so he's not mimicking it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he is at least like trying to take an active parenting role. And I know Aram is technically Perrin's age, I think, or around it.
Ish. He's like 18 versus Perrin's 20.
Is he really intellectually Perrin's age?
Well, and socially. I mean, he was in a very, very, enclosed, almost cult-like society until very recently when he was suddenly cast out.
It's like...
And now, of course, he's latched onto... That, by the way, I think Aram as character is phenomenal and really, really realistic. Probably of a lot of people Robert Jordan encountered while he was serving.
I just hold Perrin responsible a little bit for not sitting him down and giving him the same talk Elias gave Perrin.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
that should have happened.
I think Aram at this point, I'm not going to say anything about going forward, is far and away Perrin's biggest failure. And
no
the
question.
one that he should feel like he feels personally responsible for everybody who dies in Shadow Rising until he realizes he shouldn't. But like Aram, he actually should feel personally responsible for, in my opinion.
And anything he does.
And everything he does.
Out.
Yeah, I think so.
And instead he looks at him as like this big inconvenience. And I'm like, well, it kind of reminds me of like when people get a dog and don't train it.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, this dog is such a problem. And I'm like, for some people, there are more challenging dogs than others. For sure. And the people who actively are like working on that and all that stuff, this is not who I'm talking about.
Right. And some dogs are genuinely traumatized and,
Yeah. We're holding grace for all of those people.
Yes.
We're holding grace for all of you. We see the work you're doing, we recognize it. I am on that journey with you a little bit, in some ways. And every dog owner is. We're always trying to make our dogs better, right? But the ones that are just like, my dog's a problem. He bites everyone who walks in. It's just how he is. I'm like, no, we're not gonna let that. No, like, no, that's you. That's you. And that's not your dog. That's you. Your dog is a victim of you and your bad training and your unwillingness to train them.
Yeah. Well, dog is essentially a toddler.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wouldn't let my toddler hit me either. You know what I mean? I wouldn't let my toddler draw on the walls. Like, why are we letting... Anyway, it drives me nuts. They need boundaries. Anyway, so he failed to teach Aram any boundaries when it comes to this big, enormous responsibility that he allowed him to take on, right? And yes, Aram is technically a grown man, but like, is he? Again, is he? He's been so sheltered and like in this really insular community.
Well, and Perrin is also the person who essentially sponsored his departure
was
from
like,
his old way of life.
He basically was like, I'll take responsibility for him.
I think Tam even said like, you need to, you know,
deal with
take him
this.
under your wing. I think I could be wrong.
You do. And someone did that for Perrin when Perrin was first starting out, and it shows. Perrin thinks about it all the time. But no one did that for Aram. And so I feel like Aram was like set up to fail. And then now Perrin thinks of him as an annoyance. And I'm like, the only reason he is an annoyance is because you failed him.
Repeatedly and consistently.
Yeah, it annoys me.
I like how we find ways to slander Perrin in chapters he's not even in.
And I like Perrin.
Oh, me too.
This is the problem. I like all of them. I'm just like, please stop fucking up. Like, Matt totally fucked up this interaction with Jolene, in my opinion.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, in every way. Listen, Jolene fucked up with him too. I'm not. This is the thing too. It's like people are like, oh, but, and I'm like, listen, I know they both fucked up here.
Well, this is the thing, you know, and we're getting. We'll go back in a minute to talk about Matt and Tuan and their development, but like this keeps happening with Matt specifically, which is that he finds himself in situations with women who are, you know, the dog agrees. The women who like throw shit at him or are catty towards him, or in Nynaeve's case, kick him in the ass after he is a jackass to Egwene. And then he like, you know, intimidates them or humiliates them or something. And it just kind of like keeps happening. Like he keeps finding himself in these situations where like women belittle and dismiss him, and then he like does something threatening, and then he's like, and he throws his hands up and he kind of like walks away.
And it feels like it's supposed to be funny, which also
it does feel a little
me.
bit like the henpecked man.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It feels like, oh, she got what was coming to her, and I'm like, I don't think it's okay to, without consent to touch anyone's butt.
I agree with that. And I think you could make an argument that it's meant to be like, this is how women are dismissed in the real world, and it's supposed to be an inversion of that. But like, I don't know.
In a matriarchy?
I think that might be a very generous reading. But, you know, because it does keep happening with Matt.
It does. And I am struggling with it a lot.
I think it's more that it's just like this exact scene has happened at least once, if not twice before.
Yeah. Or some iteration of it has happened many times.
Yeah.
Like where like women are being threatened with physical violence, and granted, many times it's because they have done physical violence themselves, and that is not acceptable either.
Of course not.
But like the acceptable response to that does not feel like, because I'm like, it'd be one thing if it were self-defense, but it's not. It just feels weird. It feels like we're humiliating strong women again. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what is with that? Why are we doing that? I don't know. It's not my favorite scene, and it is my least favorite scene.
I want to go back though to when Matt first sees Tuan when he comes back in. He spends quite a while thinking about how he actually finds her very attractive now, and he only ever thought that she was a child because she was petite, and now he thinks she's actually really pretty, and he thinks for a while about like, you know, maybe if I could get Salushi out of there, we could like cuddle up and have some kisses. What do you think about this?
Listen, okay, on the one hand, types exist, okay? So I'm not types exist, physical attraction exists. I get it. On behalf of the tiny women, I'm not one. I'm a curvy lady. I'm kind of an in-betweener. But like, I know that a lot of my friends who are like really petite and svelte are often like we talk about fat shaming and how awful that is, and that happens a lot in these books as well, which bothers me. But we also, there is such a thing as thin shaming as well, where like women who are naturally very slender are often made to feel boyish or unattractive, or, you know, it's implied they have an eating disorder, or that they're, you know, not, you know, curvaceous enough, or whatever it is, right? And that's fucking dumb too. All of it's stupid, and I hate it, and I think it should stop. Let's be nice to each other.
Absolutely.
For God's sake. Like, just stop commenting on people's bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
All of this is very true. And you're absolutely right. I didn't
No.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's just a little part that I liked much of it. And we'll talk about the parts that I liked, I promise. I just am also still mad at Matt for the spanking.
Oh, listen, Matt's head is full of misogyny in most of the ways at all times.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all the well-meaning, benevolent, like charming, quote unquote, massive air quotes misogyny. But like, yeah, no, Matt has misogynistic thoughts constantly.
Yeah, it kind of feels the same way to me as like Perrin sees Fael and is like, big nose, am I right? And then he's like, most beautiful girl in the world.
Yes, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And each time I'm like, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, on the one hand, I'm like, it is sweet that suddenly they're like, I am attracted to her, even though like the attraction grew. Like, an attraction growing is a real thing where, like, you know, one day you turn and look at someone and you're like, oh my God, you're actually like really amazing.
Right.
And it's not like you didn't think they were attractive before. It's that you just didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
You were just like, oh, that's my friend. And then one day you turn and you're like, oh, like, I mean, I always knew you were an attractive guy.
Me, thank you, very kind.
But like, you were my friend Gus until one day I was like, wait, oh my God. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what's being captured here. And I love that because that's a real thing. Like, we don't always, like, sometimes attraction is immediate, like bang dynamite thing, which it still was with us, but it's
yeah.
But, and sometimes it's something like an affection that grows, right? Where you're like, oh, like I knew you were attractive, but then all of a sudden you're like, you're for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like, though, the issue that I'm sticking on is that they immediately like think something insulting about the woman that they're going to end up with's appearance, and then they're like, wait, actually I can look past that though.
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a
like,
very
there
good
is something
point.
about that. Like, to me it's like I know what's being gone for, which is that sometimes we don't realize how into someone we are until we're like deep in it.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Right? And I so get that. You know, and that is like so something that's been true from my experience. Is like I didn't realize what you were to me until you were that. And then I was like, whoa. I never want to be without him ever again. I just don't know about like taking these things that are often things that real women are insecure about, right? And like, for me, it's so sad because I'm like, with big noses, right? Like, I think they're amazing. I'm like, because they're your heritage in your face. How amazing is that? And like, because of stupid societal bullshit, we're being asked to erase our history from our face.
Right.
Things
Not
like
great.
that, where I just go, that's kind of weirdly tragic. And it's weirdly tragic to me that like, no matter what size a woman is, there's no size that she's ever going to feel confident in her body, because there's always something quote unquote wrong with her. And then the idea of like the love of your life, right? Looking at like that thing and going, well, that's something I'm going to look past about you, or like learn to love, is a little fucked.
I get it. Yeah.
Like, you just kind of want to be for someone, period. Not like in spite of.
I get that. Well, you know, for me, the thing that I always kind of noodle around with Matt and Tuon in this particular avenue here is, is he actually feeling this way, or does he know they are fated to fall in love?
That's another element to it.
The whole fated love thing for me is such an interesting and fraught theme in fantasy, because it's sort of like, well, if we know that we are destined for this, do we actually feel this way, or are we just sort of accepting what we know will have to happen?
I'm such a contrarian in that way, when it's like, when someone's like, you have to do this thing in very specific circumstances, but this would be a circumstance in which this would be true for me.
Yeah.
If someone were like, you have to marry this person, you're fated to do it, I'd be like, not fucking likely.
I feel like Avienda, he did a really great job playing with that concept. I really enjoyed the way he did like Run From Your Fate with Avienda. But this one I always go like, all right, are you two actually falling for each other?
Here's the thing too, is I think that it's impossible for me. Like, while he's like, I'm willing to overlook that she, is an A cup. So brave of him, like, fuck off. Seriously. It's just hard for me as a woman to like sit with that when I'm like, I know I've had so many conversations with so many people where they're so insecure about things like that.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's so stupid, because I'm like, they're so beautiful. And like the shape of their bodies is part of that. Like, they're beautiful. They look weird with ginormous titties. Like, and you're just like, you're proportionally perfect. Like, don't fuck with yourself. Or, I mean, if you're gonna, then like do it for you, not for anybody else. But like, I guess for me, it's Matt may be willing to overlook this, but I can't overlook. Again, I'm going to beat this drum until the drum breaks, but she's the princess of a slave empire.
It's true.
Like, that to me is a bigger thing to overlook than the A cup issue.
That's
Do you know
a
what I
great
mean?
point. Yes.
And that's the thing he's focusing on, is her body, and like that he's like overcoming that to love her. And I'm like, what about the slavery problem?
Yeah, he's not really reflecting on that element of it very much.
It's not crossed his mind really at all.
Not since they left, at least.
But like, it just feels like there's a weird lack of outrage about the way that the magic women are treated, or there's a very pointed ignoring of the way that the magic women are treated in Shanshan society by everyone, that in a way that makes me so fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, sure. That's real.
It's just, and listen, is that kind of real?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is real. I mean, but it's hard for me that he's like, wow, I'm really able to overcome the fact that she's got no ass. Do you know what I mean? Where I'm just like,
yes.
Is that the issue?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Is that the biggest obstacle to your love? Is it? Is that the biggest problem for you when it comes to loving Tuan? Is, the fact that she's straight up and down? Because to me, that's not that big of an obstacle.
No.
To me, honestly, a person's appearance is really one of the least important things about them to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I guess I'm just like, and yes, of course, there is this thing where like the people that you are close to and in your life, of course, you look at them and you're like, they're so beautiful, because your love for them is so palpable and beautiful that like everything becomes beautiful because you love somebody. And I think that's what's being gone for with these moments. But it just makes me so viscerally uncomfortable that it's about the appearance when there's so much bigger issues too.
There are much bigger issues.
Both Fail and Tuan.
Yes.
That like maybe could be addressed. Like Fail's propensity for violence against her own spouse, and Tuan's heir to a slave empire.
That does feel like a really big
I feel like those
one.
are bigger obstacles to loving someone and seeing the beauty in them than
their
a
cup
nose
size.
and their cup size.
Yes.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to take a really quick ad break, and then we're going to come back with Chapter 7.
Have a cup of these ads.
Welcome back. All right. Chapter 7 may not take us very long. Matt's nervous because the Shanshan tried to bust into the show, and the guys at the gate are like, you need to pay. And they're like, we're not paying. And they're like, you need to pay. And everybody kind of starts squaring up. And then the standard bearer comes in and is like, what's going on? Give me the rundown here.
And so the standard bearer shows up, and they immediately are dickheads and say to her, oh, they were going to charge us extra because we're soldiers. And she turns to Matt and she goes, is that what happened? And he goes, no, they were going to walk in without paying, and everybody stopped them, and they almost started a riot. And you know what? To me, given the Shanshan are slavers, if they had done that, I would have been on their side. But
On the rioters' side?
on the circus side, if they had been like, we're going to charge you double because you are freaking slavers, I would have been like,
get him.
do it.
Get him.
Honestly. We have a right to refuse service to anyone. I would have been like, hell yeah, retail. But that's not what happened, obviously. And Matt goes, that's not what happened. And she goes, okay, you two go back to camp. You're not leaving for 10 days, and we're docking your pay, which I went, all right. I would like you, except for you work for
The Shanshan?
the Shanshan.
Yeah.
You work for, like, it's like if somebody, I saw this hilarious TikTok that was like what it's like to date in DC.
That's funny.
And it was so funny. It was like, I work for orphan crushers. Like, I know, but you know, someone else is going to crush those orphans if they
really
don't.
funny.
So, you know, and it's like, it was just like person after person working for like horrific company or horrific politician. And it was hysterical. But that's kind of how I feel is I'm like, you still work for orphan crusher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's funny.
So, even though you seem great, I guess. So she starts immediately trying to recruit them as soldiers.
Yeah, she tries to recruit Matt. She tries to recruit Luca. She tries to recruit, I think Petra's there.
Which made everyone uncomfortable.
Nobody wanted to do this, and everybody is like, haha, bye.
It's a little uncomfortable because she's a soldier for a occupying force who's like, so I'm like, you kind of lack a lot of social awareness if you think this is a nice thing, because like the next element is like, if I say no, we know you have a habit of exploding people who refuse things. You gonna explode me for not wanting to be a part of your army? Is that gonna be an insult to the Empress? We also know that like you don't exactly have a learning curve.
Not so much.
So it's an uncomfortable, weird thing to do.
It's pretty much 0 to greasy smear in the dirt.
Yeah. I'd be really uncomfortable in this moment. So, yeah, I mean, it might be a compliment coming from anybody else. Context is very important.
Mm-hmm. So this gets dispersed and everything's fine.
Also, you know, occupying force, it's a very small slope to forced conscription.
Yeah, not great. And here's the thing, even if the Shanshan don't operate that way, how the fuck are they going to know that? Like, yeah, they've let them walk around free to an extent so far, but that could very easily change.
Right?
Yeah.
They've done that. And I'm like, not to mention, the first time they showed up, they stole a bunch of women and then exploded anyone who disagreed with that.
Fought back, yeah.
So I just don't feel like it's comfortable.
So this happens, and then it works out, and then Matt leaves, and when he gets back to the wagons, there's channeling, and then the whole thing happens where, like, Jolene is slapping, what is it, Seta?
Bethaman.
Jolene is slapping the shit out of Bethaman, and then the whole, you know... And that goes on for, like...
And I'm like, this was inevitable.
Yeah.
Why did you force them to stay together?
Ostensibly, they're keeping an eye on each other. But anyway.
I'm like, the things you should be keeping an eye on them for is them attacking each other.
This goes on for a full page, and we're not going to read any of it.
And it's like, okay, I'm going to further traumatize these Aes Sedai who have been through a fucking trauma.
Yes.
Of course they're attacking them. Of course they are. Of course they are. Use your goddamn head.
Then there's some settle anon lore if you want to talk about
Like,
any
you
of that.
should be hit in the face, honestly. If anyone's going to get hit in the face, it would. If somebody forced me to share a bedroom with someone who traumatized me, I'd punch him too. TBH.
We get some settle anon lore.
Don't hit people,
Yeah, of course not.
obviously.
There's some settle anon lore,
But I'd want to punch him.
which is nice. We're skipping all of the Matt Jolene stuff. We've been over that.
Please. And thank you.
What why did this start? What happened?
A bunch of them wanted to go out and look at the Shanshan, which was admittedly stupid.
Stupid
Like
thing.
the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Here's the thing
in
about
my life.
Jolene. At the end of the day, Jolene is dumber than dirt, or at least has been behaving as such so far.
But are we helping her operate to the height of her intelligence?
No.
No.
Like Jolene has, and none of this justifies any of what happens in this chapter, but Jolene has been nothing but a jackass to Matt for the entire time. That is true.
I just want to know why they're still traveling together. I don't understand that. What is keeping them together?
Matt
Why aren't they going back to the White Tower?
wants to get them out of Shanshan held lands before they separate, I think.
Okay.
I think.
I guess that's valid.
Yeah.
That's valid. But why would you have the Suldam in charge of them when there are 800 better options in this circus?
Yeah.
Like, there are so many other people there, aren't there? Aren't there other people that could be doing this?
Everybody else thinks they don't really understand what's going on with the Suldam, I don't think.
I mean, I guess.
Because there's the whole cover story with, like, Tuon being a servant and all that.
Yeah. I guess. Okay, here's the thing. I can already hear people typing. And I hear the argument that is, we have two magic groups. Somebody's got to keep them in check. It can't really be a Ghianan, right, say, as an example, because they just slap her down with magic. Mm-hmm. Okay, valid. But this was inevitable. I'm gonna say that right now. This was inevitable. It makes me mad that this is the situation that we find ourselves in. I'm just not happy about it, I guess. I guess I just will die mad.
I hear you. So what had happened was Jolene wanted to go look at the Shanshan. And
Which
then,
is so dumb, Jolene. Like, really?
yeah. And then Bethaman tried to spank her.
Which is also dumb, Bethaman.
And then
Like, really?
Edicina grabbed them both with air. And then Bethaman made sparks. So now Bethaman is fucked up and traumatized because she channeled and she's freaking out. She's like, I'll never do it again, I promise. And they're like,
That's
well,
not
that's
true.
not going to work. And Teslin was like, let's just let her die. And
That's helpful.
Matt is like, well, let's not let her die. And the Aes Sedai are like, well, I don't know, we got to train her. And Teslin's like, I am still in favor of letting her die. Let's just let her die.
Which I kind of get, Teslin, but, like, maybe don't say the quiet part out loud. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I get it.
maybe we don't.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's not a particularly helpful interjection at this moment. Maybe we learn, you know, the thing that I would teach my students where you're like, okay, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary?
And then they agree, like, they're going to have to teach her enough to not be a danger to others, basically, or herself. And Matt is like, God damn, my life sucks. I'm sleeping on the floor now, and I hate everything. And that's the end of chapter 7.
Yeah. Maybe before we speak, we just ask ourselves, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary?
Thanks for listening, everyone. We have social media if you want to know what we've got going on. It's linked down below. We also have a Patreon if you want to support us that way. It's patreon.com/wheeltakes. And of course, you can always leave us a rating or a review, which helps a lot. Other than that, anything else, Sally?
I'm Grumpy Part 2, the grumpening.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again for listening. This was Wheel Takes with Allie and Gus. Music by Alexander Nakarada.